Savor Collective, chef-created wines for culinary adventures. These delicious wines are created in collaboration between our winemaker and the most cutting-edge chefs in the food community from around the globe. This smooth red blend is richly layered and decadently textured, creating the ultimate savory experience. You'll love the rich notes of juicy blackberry, ripe dark cherry, and delicate spice. And is delicious with red meats like today's recipe, blackened steak and a blue cheese wine sauce. We're also making roasted garlic mashed potatoes and wilted spinach. We'll start with the roasted garlic mashed potatoes. These can actually be made a day ahead. I've been boiling these for only about 4 to 5 minutes. You don't want them too done because you want a little bit of a texture to them. Now, after draining your potatoes, let's go ahead and prep our roasted garlic. Now, I just simply took a piece of aluminum foil, placed my whole garlic head in the middle, drizzled on some olive oil and some salt, wrapped it up tight, and baked it for 1 hour at 350 degrees. Of course, the house is going to smell great for days after that. We'll take our serrated knife and cut the very top right off. And we'll just simply squeeze out the roasted garlic, which really brings up the sweetness. And this can be done a day ahead as well. And we'll add it to our potatoes. And as you notice, I'm using russet potatoes that are peeled and some red boilers that I left the skin on. Next we'll add some butter, some salt, fresh cracked pepper, and we'll add a little bit of half and half. And we'll use a fork to mash it up. And as I mentioned earlier, you don't want to have it where it's too mashed. You want some texture in there from some chunks of potatoes. And we'll set them aside. Next, we're going to heat our skillet for medium-high heat for at least 1 to 2 minutes to make sure it's nice and hot for some nice searing. We're going to season off our fillets with some kosher salt, fresh cracked pepper on both sides, pushing in the pepper. Next, we'll add some oil, swirl the coat well, and we'll add our fillets. I recommend stainless steel when searing off your steaks. It gives it a nice flavor. Of course, cast iron works just as well, but stainless steel makes a better sauce. Now, it's important not to touch your steaks for at least 2 minutes to get that nice caramelization on there. Now that's what I'm talking about. That is some great flavor right there. Now at that point, we're going to lower the heat to medium, medium-low, and let them cook. Well, we're going to turn them every 2 to 3 minutes so they don't get too brown on one side. You can use a lid to help them in the cooking process. Now, if they're really thick steaks, sear them off for 2 to 3 minutes per side and put them in a 350-degree oven for about 20-25 minutes until the internal temperature on your thermometer is 130 degrees for a beautiful medium rare. Now, when the steaks are about halfway, we're going to add a sprig of thyme and add another layer of flavor in here. Now that we're at 130 degrees internal temperature for a nice medium rare, we'll remove the steaks from the pan and we'll set them aside to rest. Another reason I like stainless steel, because it makes a great sauce, because look at the bottom of the pan here. This beautiful burnt color here is called fond, which will add great flavor to our sauce. Now, if you're cooking on an open flame, it's important to remove that pan from the skillet before adding the Savor red blend wine to the skillet. And we turn it to the heat. At this point, we can remove our thyme sprig. And we'll use a whisk to knock the brown bits off the bottom of the pan, incorporate it into our sauce, and reduce the wine by at least 70-75% to really concentrate those flavors. Now that we've got our reduction on the wine, we'll add our blue cheese crumbles, pat of butter, bring it together with a whisk. Now the butter will melt and the blue cheese will melt into the sauce, and it will thicken up in about 1 minute. Remove it from the heat, and we'll wilt some spinach real quick. To wilt the spinach, we're going to add a pat of butter to our hot pot, and we'll keep an eye on it until it turns nut brown. It's only going to be maybe about 30 seconds. When we get to that color, we'll add our spinach, a little salt, and we'll wilt. And this will go very fast, maybe 30 seconds. Wilting in brown butter makes it taste like you actually cooked it in bacon grease. Let's plate it up. We'll add some toasted almonds. Enjoy with a glass of the Savor Collective Red Blend. Also try the delicious Savor Collective Chardonnay, Sauvignon Blanc, or the Pinot Noir.